Hello, viewers. Today is Monday, June 30th, 2025. I'm here today to share my thoughts and opinions on why President Trump is employing his unconventional decision-making process to announce ceasefires, to announce the stoppage of hostilities between countries. And I had mentioned a couple of days ago on this program that he is looking to somehow be a candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize, and also he wants to get the Nobel Peace Prize. One of the motivational factor for him is he really needs it because President Obama had gotten that when he came into the office in 2008, 2009 timeframe. So he wants to get the Nobel Peace Prize. So I had mentioned on my prior program saying that there is one world conflict that multiple people have tried to solve and they have not solved. And if President Trump was able to solve that particular conflict, then he would be able to very easily obtain the Nobel Peace Prize because that is something that will be huge for the international community. And I also mentioned that I will come back to you with another episode about what that conflict is and how we can make that happen. So now, this is such a program. So this conflict that I was talking to you a couple of days ago is with respect to the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian people in the Middle East. And this has been going on for way too long. And several US presidents and international leaders, including UN, had tried to solve this problem by coming up with some kind of a framework for a two-state solution or something like that, but nothing worked. The closest one that we got to was in the late 90s when President Bill Clinton had almost clinched the deal with Ehud Barak of Israel. He was the Israel Prime Minister then, Ehud Barak, and then Yasser Arafat from the Palestinian side. But unfortunately, that did not pan out. But if President Trump is able to solve that particular conflict, and that's going to be a huge win for not just President Trump and not just for the United States, but it is pretty much a huge win for the entire world and the humanity in general. So what is the framework? The first basic fundamental framework for any peace process or for that two-state solution is going to be very simple. Israel should be given guarantee that any state that is carved out of West Bank and Gaza should have a peace treaty with Israel, and the safety and security of Israel and its people should be guaranteed at all the times. So that's the fundamental. Everybody agrees that you cannot have some kind of an antagonistic attitude towards your border state. So that is a given. The Palestinian people should accept, and if such a new state emerges out of this, that state should pledge that they will have they will have some kind of a safety guarantee or a cooperation agreement with them to make sure that there is peace in both those states. So that's the first one. The second one is, if you look at the Clinton framework, he was talking about carving out a state which comprises of around 90% of West Bank. Things have changed a lot because this was in the late 90s and in the late 2000, the year 2000, when he left office. But things have changed a lot in West Bank, and there are a lot of occupied territories now in West Bank. So I do not know whether the 90% of the West Bank on this new state for the Palestinian people, whether it is doable or not, but every effort should be made to make sure that the 90% of the West Bank area goes to the new state. And then, of course, the Gaza Strip. So these two will constitute the new Palestinian state. And that is what President Clinton envisioned. And that was what they are on that general framework that they had. Then the other important aspect was about on contiguous territory. They were trying to figure out how you can have some kind of a contiguous territory linking Gaza Strip to the West Bank area. There, Israel might have to give up some land, and all of this is negotiable as long as the Palestinians agree to the safety and security of Israel. And I don't think it will be a big deal. And now let me come to President Trump's part. The reason why I think that President Trump can potentially achieve this peace is because at this juncture, Netanyahu needs President Trump more than Trump needs Netanyahu. And then from the other side, if you look at it, the Palestinian people are really looking for US leadership for aid. They are looking for US leadership for some kind of a security for their own people. And they want to rebuild Gaza. And they also want to rebuild West Bank. But they want to rebuild Gaza more importantly. So they are also in a situation where they would definitely seek the presidential intervention from the United States. And as I mentioned yesterday, and Trump is in a very unique position because if Trump wants to do something and if he puts his mind to it, he will not have any opposition from his party. And most of the world leaders also are inclined to go with Trump because they know his way of handling things, his way of approaching things, and his way of coming up with a solution. Because once he says that this is what I want, he's going to somehow get it. He's purely a transactional president and he will make it work. And the other reason I'm saying that this might work under President Trump and not with any other president is he has got a great relationship with the Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, and other Middle Eastern countries. And he can potentially ask them in any eventual rebuilding effort in Gaza, he can force, when I say force, he will talk in a transactional way, and he can ask those Middle Eastern countries to actually invest in Gaza and West Bank. So that's another important factor you need to consider because you can create a new state for the Palestinian people, but who is going to invest? Who is going to rebuild Gaza? Who is going to build colleges, universities, schools? Who is going to build the basic infrastructure system? And that requires a lot of money, and that requires a lot of international money because they don't have enough money within that state. So US, of course, needs to spend a lot of money there, but Trump is in a very unique position to convince the other leaders from the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Kuwait and UAE, to invest in West Bank and Gaza. And other important factor in this is even Trump, through his own private companies, can invest in Gaza because, after all, he is in the hospitality industry, and he can definitely think of he can think very innovatively to come up with a solution where Gaza becomes one of the focal points for travel as a tourist destination in the Middle East. So all these are possibilities, and all these are within the realm of Trump's capabilities, given the fact what he has done. When he talked about the Israel-Iran ceasefire and his efforts right now in between Russia and Ukraine, even though he was not very successful because Putin is a different leader altogether, and so it's difficult to deal with Putin. But nevertheless, President Trump is in a unique position to solve this, as long as he has the intention to do it. Because one thing with Trump is he needs to be interested in certain things to actually get it done and get it to the finish line, like what he has done in the ceasefire with Iran and Israel, and then what he is currently doing in the budget bill. If this budget bill was sent by any other Republican president, this would not have been passed. But now it looks like it's on the verge of getting passed. That's because of President Trump, because his party is solely behind him. And that is very, very important in the Israel-Palestinian issue because historically, the Republican Party did not really look for a two-state solution. George W. Bush, when he took office, after President Clinton left office, the Saudi, I believe it was Crown Prince Abdullah at that time, came to the White House and spoke to George W. Bush about the need for a two-state solution. But based on all the accounts from from those days, it looks as though that George W. Bush was not very keen to actually implement a two-state solution. So nevertheless, we are where we are at this point, and I think President Trump, if he puts his mind to this issue and if he truly wants to solve this problem, he can solve this problem, because the international leaders will line up behind him, especially the leaders from the Middle East, and then he can definitely have a huge win by presenting a two-state solution to the international community, and that will be a very good stabilizing force, not just in the Middle East, but for the entire world. But again, I insist that the framework of this solution is already there. I did one episode about this last year in July in this very YouTube channel, and I'm going to put the link and the other links from that particular program. In fact, that link also includes the framework for the deal from President Clinton, as well as exactly what was discussed during those times. So if President Trump is able to solve this problem, I think he will deserve a Nobel Peace Prize, and I think he will also get the Nobel Peace Prize. So that's my take. That's it for me today. Let's hope that President Trump looks at this issue more closely and looks at it to solve the problem so that he can get the Nobel Peace Prize. That's it for me today. Take care.